engagement was beautiful. Black people are beautiful. I think sometimes we underestimate how important those in-person connections and relationships can be. And that was definitely the case for me. I think there was just so many connections that were made, so many collaborations that were done. Um, that's still to this day, still people that I talk to and hit up on social media and, have, toured around with some collaborations with people and how can we promote each other. And that's what you want. I think nobody wants to create alone. Even if you're a solo podcaster, you still want that community element. Afros and Audios definitely brought that 1000%. Feel free to use this in a commercial, okay? I'm a walking billboard. So, and the talks are super informative, and it was a nice surprise to see Carrie Willis from Hey Tai, which is a Black-owned news and media app. Um, and he's been on my show. We've talked and, still support him to this day. So I think really what I'm trying to say is, number one, if you're a podcaster, you're a Black podcaster, you need to go at least once. If you are a Black tech company that works on products for podcasters, you definitely need to go. Your audience is there. If you're someone who wants to support Black podcasters because they reach the audience that you want to connect with, and you are not natively a marketer, but you are the founder of an organization, the founder of a brand, founder of a company that wants to connect genuinely with the audience that we resonate with most, this is the place for you. So that would be my humble 5-minute spiel and assessment.
And what Afros and Audio has been doing has just been beautiful. And I've been blessed to be there since the first Afros and Audio, man. And to watch it grow to what it's been to, man, I got to commend you. You talked about me a lot on it, man. What you've built here is not something that I want to take time out to make sure that I thank you for what you've built, because you've helped so many creators, whether you realize it or not, help find their journey in this, help rediscover their journey, and just introduce them to a new audience, man. And I thank you for that.
So when I went to the first one, I wasn't a podcaster. No, here's the funny thing. I was a podcaster, but I didn't know I was, because I had something called Alexa Briefings on Anchor. And I recorded every day, 5 days a week for a couple of months. And it was actually when I was talking to somebody at the first one, they were like, "But you have a podcast?" I don't. What you do? And it made me feel some kind of way, like, what? For real? So I sat on that for a while, always been an active participant in ANA events. It's a community. Even if you don't know people, it's a welcome, it's a hug, virtually or even in person. I like that, when you come into the space, people are waiting there to catch you, right? Give you information. And it's actually through ANA. I learned actually how to get into podcasting. Like, what's the best mic? How do you record? There's other pieces I learned later, but that was enough to get me started. And then the other thing with this last one, so the first one was in person, 2 virtually, and then this one last year was in person. And to see people that I have been like literally interacting with virtually, in different spaces and ANA spaces, literally made me want to give people a hug. I'm not a hugger at all, right?
Thank you. Thank you for the platform that you all have built. Thank you for Afros and Audio, what y'all have done. Phenomenal. And I've had the privilege and the pleasure to be able to grace the stage virtually. I'm going to see y'all in person. We're going to get together in person. But thank you for all y'all have done and all the work you're doing.
So anytime I'm looking at working with a brand, the number one criteria that I utilize is whether or not there's alignment with my personal mission and the mission of my organization is. So we support Black podcasters. We support the Black podcasting community, and we do that unapologetically. And so for me, working with any brand first requires that brand has shown that they are in support of the Black podcasting community, and not just in a superficial way, but in a way that is meaningful, right? And so working with organizations like Afros and Audio, Black Podcasters Association, Black Pod Awards, I mean, I think it's kind of obvious that commitment is there and that there is alignment. And really, those three organizations really helped me to kind of lay the foundation for feeling like I can do this unapologetically, like this is something that I can do, that we have within this community enough resources, enough support, enough talent that I can build something with and within this community that is mutually beneficial. And because I did it with Afros and Audio as a part of the team, I've done it as a part of the team for Black Podcasting Awards. I've seen it firsthand as a member of the Black Podcasters Association.
It is us supporting each other in a way that we tend to support everybody else. And that for me has been not only revelationary, but revolutionary in the way I've been able to move coming into 2024. Because they say, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. And it is something for me in 2024 of getting really connected in relationship with people more so in these communities, and really understanding and supporting these podcasters. And coming back to Afros and Audio in the number 6, I'm so excited too, because it matters, and the feel and the energy is about doing something. And I like doing something. Don't just show up just to show up. Show up to do something and to make a difference. And so that to me is what community is about. It's about, yeah, you want to have fun. And yes, we want to build relationships and we want to get to know each other and lift up each other that on a personal level. But it's about making an impact. And that's what I see in these communities and in Afros and Audio. And what you have put together is just, it's masterful. And you can tell the heart in it. And you can tell the values that are there. And you can tell this, not only the strategy that is there, but the true impact that you are not only desiring to make, but you are willing to put in the work to make. And that, to me, is what draws people.
This is no shade to anyone else, but I will say, like, I was at a different conference earlier on in the year, and I was telling somebody else that, like, everywhere I went to that conference, we might be in a room with 1,000 people, like at a party or something, but all the Black people would just find each other and they'd go to some corner in the back and we just all kick it. And it was like, it was so fun just all being together. And so now to be at like a conference where the entire place is Black, like, it's just like, it was so crazy. I loved that. It gave me so much energy. And I left feeling like energized, and not like physically, but it was like my spirit had been like charged up. And so I really needed that. And so I loved it because of that. But also I got the opportunity to speak and be on a panel. And it just reminded me that, man, like one last anecdote. I was on another panel last week, and a few people on the panel was saying sometimes it was about how like Black creators need like sponsorship and how like brands don't often give us opportunities. And one of the people on stage was just saying, don't be afraid to reach out to Black business owners. Don't be afraid to reach out to Black creators, Black whoever, because you're more likely to get opportunities from them than these other people that may not know you. And that was like my experience with like Afros and Audio. The fact that I was able to be on a panel, that's something I've wanted to do for years. I was able to check that off my bucket list. I was able to challenge myself and grow as a creative. It's like those opportunities, like being able to come into like our home as Black creators and get some of those opportunities, get the opportunity to grow together. It makes the world of difference. I don't think there's anywhere else we can go and find it.
Absolutely. It's point and purpose, man. It's the reason for it. And so thank you for sharing that.
So I've been to 4 in-person podcasting conferences, some of the largest ones out, right? And several virtual, right? This was the first of those that I felt just so around my people. And don't get me wrong, all podcasters are my people, right? So I feel connected when I go to the other ones as well, but it was a different kind of connection. Like it was like a family reunion. Like it was so amazing. And then because I've immersed myself in the podcasting space, I knew some of these people, right? So knew them virtually, but to get to see people that you've been working with and networking with for years in person, like it was just so welcomed and people were so helpful.
I'll never forget one of the people I was talking to. They're like, what's your purpose? What's your purpose for this thing? Asking me thought-provoking questions and just all of that. Like, just truly amazing. And then on top of the fact that because I am a part of the Afros and Audio team, like it made me feel like a celebrity. I'm gonna just let y'all know. And I don't need no reason to make my head bigger than it already is. It ain't hurt to be felt like a celebrity. It didn't hurt at all. So it was just really a validation that I needed, that I've probably been searching for a long time, a connectedness that I needed, again, that I've been searching for a long time, that I've heard other people from some of those other podcasting conferences get, right? But there, I never got it, right? Like I got that at Afros and Audio, like super, super amazing, right? So that was my experience as far as being at the conference.
And I think that's where the Afros and Audio Podcast Conference just like, it really ties all of that together because you're able to bring novice podcasters and veteran podcasters together and try to come up with something in the middle. So what's good for the novice is that you've got people who've been doing it for a long time who can give you information on how to maneuver through this thing. But then from on the other standpoint too, you have novice or new podcasters who can give us old heads some new ideas and some innovative thoughts on how to refocus or rebrand our own thing. So I think it all works out together. So I think that those two and the Afros Audio Podcast Conference and the community as a whole is something that's I'm just happy to be a part of. And I think a few people heard the story already, but it just came out of me seeing it on Instagram and shot a video to win a ticket to the first one. And that's how this whole thing started. I think the biggest win was making this connection with the Afros and Audio Podcast community. Like I say, I don't even want to call it a conference. I just want to call it a community because I think making this connection has been the biggest win for me because this is something that, two things. This is something that I wasn't looking for, and this is something that I didn't know I needed. So both of those things. So I think that makes it the biggest win because I think those surprise wins are the best ones because you didn't even know you was looking for it, but then you got it. You're like, oh shit, I've been needed this. So I think that's like the biggest win.
And to say thank you, Talib, for creating this moment, not just this moment, but for creating Afros and Audios and just creating a home for us podcasters, Black podcasters, to come and connect and to really share great information. The past couple of years that I've attended, I've had a really good time. It's something I look forward to. So please support this brother and his movement. Afros and Audios is the move.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I wanted to do as well. If you are considering podcasting or you're in podcasting and trying to figure it out, you absolutely need to be at Afros and Audio. So make sure that you are in Baltimore in October, participating in the space, right? You get the opportunity to meet a bunch of dope folks. You get the opportunity to learn some things that you may not know. And it is invaluable that we have spaces for us, by us. So thank you, Talib, to your entire team for like really creating that for us. Like it is for podcasters at all levels. It's so important that we get to just be in rooms with each other and learn from one another. And only we can do that for us. So echoing Sir Daniel, Afros and Audio is the move. You have to be there.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I couldn't have said it better myself. I appreciate that. I will take that part out and use it as a, as a promo.
You know what I'm saying? We done gave you a TikTok.
That's why I was confident enough to come out to Afros and Audio. Well, that's one of the best decisions I made in 2022 because I'm still on the high anytime I talk about it. Because it was just, I've been to a family reunion and that's what Afros and Audios felt like to me. I met a few of the people who were there from BPA in New York and coming to Philly before even the panels, there was a level of satisfaction just from being in the midst of wonderful, amazing creatives, people who I'd been learning from, people who were willing to share. And yeah, I was starstruck, but not too starstruck to the point where I couldn't say I appreciate you, man. I just appreciate being in your presence. I was just happy and we're all joking, having a good time. And by the time the panels would begin, I was like, even sometimes I was like, oh, which panel will I go to? Which panel will I go to? But every panel that I attended, was a blessing. There was no panel that I was like, oh, this is a waste of my time. Every panel was something valuable that even people who were not at the event, who've met me or who've known me, who've talked to me about podcasting, I've been like, yeah, how you know all this stuff? It was just beautiful to learn so much, meet awesome creatives. It was beautiful, man. I don't know if I can capture everything in words.
Like I said, the virtual experience was phenomenal for me because with the Hoover app and everything that you all had going on, it was still very interactive. I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. It was like, wow, I can't wait to meet these people in person. But like, I feel like I know y'all. And that was wonderful. So it motivated me to want to speak again, to want to attend again. And I did. And I feel very empowered by the Afros and Audio family. Sometimes it's easy. Like I said, I haven't really been producing my podcast as often since I had my baby. And it's easy to feel disconnected. Like, am I still a podcaster? I don't have any new episodes. I don't have much new to share. You know, you can question yourself. You can doubt yourself, and it's easy to doubt yourself. But when you are in a community of individuals who see you and not just the download numbers or things of that nature, they don't see your stats. It gives you what you need to want to show up and show up better.
I actually want to thank you, Talib, because Afros and Audios, I'm going to try not to cry, but I want to thank you for creating a platform like Afros and Audios where someone who was so new to podcasting did not feel like she did not belong. So I appreciate that. And I continue to tell people, like, come to Afros and Audios, no matter when you started, last week, 10 years ago, you will still feel welcome. And that is literally the point. And that is what community is. And that's what Afros and Audio has always been. It has always been community, and including everybody. Oh, you're Black? Come on in. That's it. It was like, that's your only criteria. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate that that is what we saw. Also, I appreciate that your wife made that really good macaroni and cheese, and I got it back on the bus with me and took it home. They're like, why are you eating macaroni and cheese out of a cup on a bus? I'm like, because it's that good. Leave me alone.
I have to say, and I attended one in a different way than other people. So I actually, again, speaking of service, because I think that's important, I was actually a back-end admin moderator, or maybe the first one. And it was really interesting having that experience, go to conferences. And what I was able to see, of course, is just the variety of speakers that we had, speakers who could talk about how to hang in there, but also talk about legal issues and things like that, that I don't know. But because I was on the back end, and I know everyone doesn't know what that means, but I was basically helping the conference run smoothly. And so I was seeing it from a different way, which was really interesting. And I would suggest if you definitely give service to Afros in Audio, because it was a great experience for me. And I think that you would enjoy it as well. But I think I was able to see it from a little bit different perspective. And what I could hear was the true heart of the people who were speaking. So they were there for real reasons. They're important people and they have other things they could be doing. But even when they're about to go on, or there's a little bit of chatter before they actually go on the stage, I was able to hear. And they were really invested in this and had a heart for this. And so I think that's what I took out of it, in addition to the subject matter expertise, which was awesome.